a strange voice. As they ran, they heard the scream again. The white faces of prisoners appeared at cell doors. They were afraid.
"It's that crazy man in cell 13,
the warden said. He stopped and looked into the cell. That crazy man in cell 13 was sleeping comfortably in his bed. They heard the scream again. It was coming from somewhere above. The warden and the guards went upstairs. There they found a man in cell 43, directly above cell 13. He was sitting in the corner of his cell like a child.
"What's wrong?"
demanded the warden.
"Thank God you've come,"
said the prisoner.
"What is it?"
demanded the warden again. He opened the door and went into cell 43. The prisoner's face was white with terror.
"Take me out of this cell. Please take me out,"
he said.
"What is it?"
asked the warden.
"I heard something.
"What did you hear?"
"I can't tell you,"
said the prisoner.
"Please take me out of this cell. Put me anywhere, but take me out of here."
"Who is this man?"
the warden asked the guard. "His name is Joseph Ballard," the guard replied.
"And what is his crime?"
"They say he killed a woman with acid."
"But they can't prove it,"
said the prisoner.
"They can't prove it."
The warden was silent for a minute.
"Listen to me, Ballard,"
he said finally.
"If you heard something, I want to know what it was. Now tell me."
"I can't tell you."
Ballard was crying now.
"Where did it come from?"
"I don't know. Everywhere, nowhere. I don't know."
"Was it a voice?"
"I can't tell you,"
said the prisoner.
"You must tell me,"
said the warden angrily.
"It was a voice, but it wasn't human,"
said the prisoner.
"A voice, but not human,"
repeated the warden. He was confused.
"It was strange and very far away, like a ghost."
"Did it come from inside or outside the prison?"
"It didn't come from anywhere. It was here, there, everywhere. I heard it.
For an hour, the warden tried to get the story, but Ballard became silent and didn't say anything more. Finally, the warden went away. He was very confused. Ballard sat at his cell door until morning, his white face staring through the bars. It was the 4th day of the thinking machine's incarceration. He stood at his cell window and threw another piece of linen to the guard outside. And once more, the guard took it to the warden. The warden read the message on it. It said,
"Only 3 days more."
The warden was not surprised by the message. He knew the thinking machine meant that there were only 3 days more before he escaped.
"But how did he write it?"
the warden thought.
"Where did he find another piece of linen? Where? How?"
He looked at the linen. It was white, like the material from a shirt. He took the thinking machine's shirt and put the 2 original pieces of linen on the torn places. The 3rd piece was completely superfluous, but it was the same material.
"Where did he get it? And where? Where does he get anything to write with?"
Later on the 4th day, the thinking machine spoke to the guard outside his window.
"What day of the month is it?"
he asked. "The 15th. The thinking machine made a mental astronomical calculation.
"Good,"
he thought.
"Tonight the moon will not rise before 9 o'clock.
Then he asked another question.
"Who looks after the big lights on the roof?"
"An electrician from the company."
"You have no electricians in the building?"
"Nope." At the end of the afternoon, just before he finished work, the outside guard saw the thinking machine's head again at the window. He had something in his hand which he threw to the ground. It was a $5 bill.
"That's for you,"
said the prisoner. Once again, the guard took it to the warden. "He said it was for me."
"I imagine it's a present from him. I think you can accept it,"
said the warden. Then suddenly he stopped.
"Wait a minute. When the professor went into the cell, he had 1 $5 bill and 2 $10 bills. There was a $5 bill with the first message. I have it here. But now he has given you another $5 bill. It's impossible. He has only 2 $10 bills.
"Perhaps somebody changed a $10 bill for him," said the guard.
Perhaps. But tonight we are going to search cell 13 again. We are going to search it as no cell has ever been searched before.
So that night, at 3 o'clock in the morning, the warden and his guards searched the thinking machine's cell again. The warden found the hole in the floor. He put his hand into it. There was something there. He pulled it out. A dead rat. He threw it to the floor in disgust. But he continued the search. Once more he examined the bars on the window, but found them to be solid. He then examined the thinking machine's clothes. In his trousers he found some money.
5 $1 bills,
said the warden. He was very surprised.
That's right,
said the prisoner.
But you had 2 10s and a 5. How do you do it?
That's my business,
said the thinking machine.
Did any of my men change this money for you?
No.
Well, do you make it?
asked the warden.
That's my business,
said the prisoner again. The warden was very angry. He left the cell and went back to bed. About an hour later, he heard the scream again. He got up and ran immediately to cell 43, where he saw Ballard, his terrorized face pressed against the bars of the door.
Take me out! Take me out!
He screamed.
I did it! I killed her! Take me out of here!
Was it the voice again?
asked the warden.
Yes,
said Ballard.
What did it say?
Acid! Acid! Acid!
said the prisoner.
It knew! I threw the acid in the woman's face and killed her! Oh.
Acid?
repeated the warden, more confused than ever. Chapter 5. Countdown to Freedom. On the 5th day of the thinking machine's incarceration, the warden looked tired. He wanted this thing to finish. He wanted his confusion to end. But that day, the thinking machine threw another piece of linen to the guard. It said,
Only 2 days more.
This time, there was a silver $50 with it. Now the warden knew, he knew, that the man in cell 13 didn't have any $50. He couldn't have any $50, just as he couldn't have pen and ink and linen. But he did have them. It was a fact, not a theory. And that is why the warden looked so tired. Then there was the voice that Ballard had heard. The word acid. Didn't mean anything, of course. Ballard was obviously mad. But there were so many things that didn't mean anything, now that the thinking machine was in the prison. On the 6th day, the warden received a letter from Dr. Ransom. It said, Dear Sir, Mr. Fielding and I will meet you in your office tomorrow evening. If Professor Van Dusen has not escaped, and we believe he has not, because we have not received a letter from him, we will meet him there too. Yours, Dr. Ransom. That day, the thinking machine had 3 more messages for the warden. They were written on the same linen and referred to the meeting with Dr. Ransom and Mr. Fielding. On the afternoon of the 7th day, the warden passed cell 13 and looked in. The thinking machine was sleeping on his bed. Everything in the cell was completely normal.
He cannot escape between now and 8:30 this evening,
the warden thought. That evening, after 6 o'clock, he saw the guard.
Is everything all right in cell 13?
He asked. Yes, sir, replied the guard. But he didn't eat much today. The warden was feeling happy when he met Dr. Ransom and Mr. Fielding that evening, at 7 o'clock. He wanted to show them the thinking machine's messages. He wanted to tell them about the events of the week. But before he could speak, the guard from the river side of the prison yard came into the office. The light on my side of the yard is broken, the guard said.
Oh no, another problem,
said the warden. The guard returned to his post in the dark. The warden called the electric light company.
Hello, this is Chisholm Prison,
he said into the phone.
One of our lights is broken. Could you send 4 men here to repair it? Thank you. Goodbye.
The warden went out into the yard. While Dr. Ransom and Mr. Fielding were waiting, the guard from the prison gate came into the office. In his hand was a letter. Dr. Ransom looked at the letter. "Incredible," he said.
What is it?
Asked Mr. Fielding. The doctor gave him the letter. Fielding looked at it.
It's a coincidence. It must be,
he said. It was almost 8 o'clock when the warden returned to his office.
The electricians have arrived,
he said.
They are working on the light now.
The warden telephoned the guard at the prison gate.
How many electricians came in?
He asked. 4, was the reply.
All right. You must be certain that only 4 men go out of the prison,
said the warden. He put down the phone and took the letter.
My God, it's not possible,
he said, shocked.
What is it?
Asked Mr. Fielding.
It's a letter from cell 13,
said the warden.
An invitation to dinner.
What? Said Ransom. The 3 men were silent for a long time. Finally, the warden called a guard.
Go down to cell 13 immediately,
he said,
and see if the professor is still there.
The guard ran down the corridor. Dr. Ransom and Mr. Fielding examined the letter. It's Van Duzen's handwriting. There's no doubt about that, said Dr. Ransom. I've seen too much of it. At that moment, the telephone rang again. It was the guard at the prison gate. There were 2 newspaper reporters, and they wanted to see the warden. The warden told the guard to let them come in.
It's impossible,
he said.
Professor Van Duzen must be in cell 13.
Then the guard returned. He's still in his cell, sir, he said. I saw him. He's sleeping.
There, I told you,
said the warden.
But if he is still in his cell, how did he send the letter?
There was a knock at the door.
It's the reporters,
said the warden.
Come in.
The door opened, and the 2 men entered.
Good evening, gentlemen,
said one. It was Hutchinson Hatch. The warden knew him well. Then the second man came in.
Well, I'm here,
he said. It was the thinking machine. The warden sat with his mouth open. He was paralyzed.
How did you do it?
Asked the warden finally.
Let's go back to the cell,
said the thinking machine. The men walked down the corridor to the door of cell 13.
Look inside,
said the thinking machine. The warden looked inside. Everything looked normal, and there on the bed, was the figure of the thinking machine. Certainly, there was his yellow hair. The warden looked again at the man beside him.
I must be mad,
he thought. Then he unlocked the cell door, and the thinking machine went inside.
Look here,
he said. He put his foot on the steel bars at the bottom of the cell door, and 3 of them fell out.
And here, too.
The thinking machine stood on his bed and put his hand to the bars on the window. All of them came out.
So what's this in the bed?
Asked the warden.
It's a wig,
the thinking machine replied.
Take the cover off.
The warden did this. Under it was a coil of strong rope, about 10 meters long, a knife, 3 files, 3 meters of electric wire, a pair of steel pliers, a hammer, and a pistol.
How did you do it?
Asked the warden.
You gentlemen have an invitation to dinner with me at 9:30,
said the thinking machine.
Come on, or we shall be late.
But how did you do it?
The warden insisted.
You cannot hold a man in prison who can use his brain,
replied the thinking machine.
Come on, or we shall be late.
Chapter 6. How did he do it? When dinner was finished, the thinking machine turned to Dr. Ransom.
Well, do you believe me now?
He asked. Yes, I do, replied Dr. Ransom. There was a long silence. Like all the other guests, Ransom was waiting for the explanation.
So, tell us how you did it,
said Fielding finally. The thinking machine began the story.
The agreement was to go into a cell in Chisholm Prison with nothing but the necessary clothes and to leave that cell within 7 days. I didn't know Chisholm Prison. When I went into the cell, I asked for 3 things: toothpaste, 2 $10 bills, and 1 $5 bill, and to have my shoes blacked. You agreed to these things. I knew that there was nothing useful in the cell, so I had to use these 3 innocent things to help me escape. But anything is dangerous in the hands of a man like me. The first night I did 2 things. I slept and I ran after rats. You gentlemen thought I wanted time to organize an escape with assistance from outside the prison, but this was not true. I knew I could communicate with anyone I wanted to at any time.
The warden looked at him for a moment. The thinking machine continued.
The guard woke me up at 6 o'clock the next morning. He brought me my breakfast. He told me lunch was at 12 o'clock and dinner was at 6. I knew that between these times I was alone. So after breakfast, I examined the outside area from my cell window. I saw that it was impossible to get over the wall. But I knew that on the other side of the wall there was a river and also a playground. The guard confirmed it. So I knew one important thing. A person could come near the prison on that side without attracting the attention of the guards. But there was something even more important. I saw a wire which went to the light on the prison roof. It was very near my cell window. I knew then that if it was necessary, I could cut off that light. Then I thought about escaping through the prison building. I remembered the way to my cell. I knew that was the only way out. There were 7 doors between my cell and the outside. It was too difficult.
The thinking machine stopped for a moment. Dr. Ransom lit a new cigar. For several minutes there was silence. Then the thinking machine continued.
When I was thinking about these things, a rat ran across my foot. It gave me a new idea. I saw there were at least 6 rats in the cell, but they didn't come from under the door. I ran after them and they disappeared, but they didn't go out of the door, so I knew there was another way out. I looked for this other way and found it. It was a hole in the floor. It went to an old drain pipe. Obviously the rats came this way. But where did they come from? Drain pipes normally go outside the prison. This one probably went to the river or near it, so the rats came from that direction. When the guard came with my lunch, he told me 2 important things. One was that there was a new plumbing system in the prison. The other was that the river was only 100 meters away. So I knew that the pipe in my cell was part of an old system, and I knew it went to the river. The other end of the pipe was outside the prison walls. But before I could start work, I knew I had to distract the warden. I wanted him to think that I was trying to communicate with you, Dr. Ransom. So I took 2 pieces of linen from my shirt and wrote a message on them. Do you have the message, Warden?
Yes.
The warden looked at the coded message.
But what does it mean?
He asked.
Read it from right to left, beginning with the T,
said the thinking machine.
Don't consider the division into words.
The warden read the message.
This,
he began,
is not the way I intend to escape.
The warden smiled.
But what did you write it with?
This,
said the thinking machine. He put his foot on the table. On it was the shoe that he wore in prison, but the polish was gone.
The shoe polish, mixed with some water, was my ink,
said the thinking machine.
And the metal end of the shoelace was a good pen.
The warden laughed.
Continue,
he said.
After the message, the warden wanted to search my cell. This was good. I wanted him to search my cell very often. I thought, he won't find anything, so he will stop and leave me alone. The warden took my shirt away and gave me a prison shirt. Without my white shirt, I couldn't write any more messages. but I had another piece of the same shirt in my mouth.
Where did it come from?
asked the warden.
I saw that there were only 2 pieces cut from the shirt, and I had both of them.
You forget that shirts like mine have 3 layers of linen,
The thinking machine replied.
I took out the inside one. You didn't notice it. Now that the warden was busy, I started to work on my real escape plan. I knew that the pipe from my cell went to the playground outside the prison. It is a place where boys play baseball. I knew many of the boys there. I knew that the rats came into my cell from out there. Perhaps it was possible for me to communicate with someone outside. I could use the rats. The first thing I needed was a long thread, so I used the thread from my socks.
He pulled up his trouser legs. The strong thread at the top of his long socks was not there.
Then on one half of my last piece of linen, I wrote a message for Hutchinson Hatch. He is a friend and often helps me. I knew he would help me this time. It was a great story for his newspaper. I tied a $10 bill to the letter to attract attention. People always find money. I wrote on the linen, "If you find this message, give it to Hutchinson Hatch. He will give you another $10 for the information." Then I wrote instructions for Hatch. I had to get this note outside the prison. There were 2 ways, but the best way was the rats. I took one of them. I tied the linen and the money to one of its legs and tied my thread to another. Then I put it in the pipe. From the moment the rat disappeared into that dirty pipe, I was nervous. The thread could break. Anything could happen. I waited. I was holding the thread, and I saw that it became gradually shorter. Finally, there was only about 1 meter of thread in my hand. I knew that the rat was outside the prison. But would Hatch receive the message? I had to wait. I decided to try some other maneuvers. This was to confuse the warden more. I tried to bribe the guard. I tried to cut through the bars on my cell window. The warden became very angry. He took the bars in his hands to see if they were solid. They were, then. That night I didn't sleep. The thread was tied to my hand. I waited for the signal from outside. I thought, if Hatch has received the message, and if he finds the drainpipe, he will pull the thread. At 3:30 in the morning, I felt something pull the thread.
The thinking machine turned to Hutchinson Hatch.
"Now you can explain what you did,"
he said.
A small boy brought the linen message to me. I gave the boy another $10. I got some string and then some wire. I went with the boy to the playground. I looked for the end of the drainpipe for an hour. Then finally I found it. It was about 30 centimeters in diameter. I took the end of the thread and pulled it 3 times. The professor pulled twice to reply. Quickly, I tied my string to the professor's thread. Then I tied the wire to the string. Professor Van Dusen began to pull it all into his cell. The wire was the most important because it could not break. The thread was too weak. It could break easily. With the wire, I could transport things to the cell.
"Yes,"
continued the thinking machine.
"I was very happy when the wire arrived in the cell. Then we tried another experiment. I spoke to Mr. Hatch through the pipe. He heard me, but it was not easy for him to understand me. I wanted some nitric acid, and I had to repeat the word acid several times. Then I heard a scream from the cell above me. With the wire, it was easy to transport things to my cell, and it was also easy to hide them. I could put them into the pipe. You, Mr. Warden, found the pipe, but you could not find the wire. Your hands are too big. My fingers are longer and thinner, so it was easy for me. In addition, I put a dead rat in the pipe. You pulled it out."
I remember,
said the warden.
"The rat was there to stop you investigating the pipe,"
said the thinking machine.
"That night, Mr. Hatch could not send me anything useful, but he did send me change for $10 as a test. The next day, I continued to work on my plan. For this, it was necessary that the guard outside saw me often at my cell window. To attract his attention, I threw messages to him. I stood at my cell window for hours. Sometimes I spoke to him. He told me that there were no electricians inside the prison. If there was a problem with the lights, they had to call the light company. This was perfect for my escape plan. There was only one more thing to do before I escaped. Once again, I spoke to Mr. Hatch through the pipe. It was the 4th night of my incarceration. Again, Mr. Hatch could not understand me. Again, I repeated the word acid 3 times. It was this that made the prisoner above me confess to murder. The guard told me the next day. The prisoner heard strange voices through the pipe. He thought it was a ghost. With nitric acid, it was very easy to cut the bars of the window. But it was a long process. The outside guard saw me standing at my window. He didn't know what I was doing. As he watched me, I cut the bars with a piece of wire covered with acid. On the night of my escape, I used the same acid to cut the electric wire that went to the lights. The yard outside my window was completely dark. It was easy to escape. I also had a wig from Mr. Hatch. It was the same color as my hair, yellow. I put it in the bed with some other things that Hatch sent me. When the guard passed the door, he thought I was sleeping.
But how did you get outside the prison gate?
Asked the warden.
It was simple.
The thinking machine replied.
As I said, I cut the wire to the lights before the guards turned on the current. When they turned on the current, the light on my side of the yard didn't work. The outside guard went to your office to tell you, and I escaped through my cell window. I stayed in the shadows until the 4 electricians arrived. Mr. Hatch was one of them. When I saw him, he gave me some workman's clothes to put on. You, Mr. Warden, were standing only 3 meters away. Then Mr. Hatch called me as a workman, and together we went out of the gate to get something from the van. The guard at the gate knew that there were 4 workers in the yard. He saw that we were workers, so he let us go out of the prison. Then we changed clothes and came back in. We went to your office and asked to see you. That's all.
And the letter of invitation? Asked Ransom.
I wrote it in my cell with Mr. Hatch's pen,
said the thinking machine.
Then I sent it through the pipe, and Mr. Hatch posted it.
There was silence for several minutes. Dr. Ransom was the first to speak. Incredible, he said. Absolutely brilliant. But Mr. Fielding had 2 more questions.
And what was the toothpaste for?
He asked.
For brushing my teeth.
Why did Mr. Hatch come with the electricians?
His father is the manager of the company,
said the thinking machine.
But what if there was no Mr. Hatch outside to help you?
Every prisoner has at least one friend who will help him if he can.
What if there was no old drain pipe in your cell?
Asked the warden.
There were another 2 ways to escape,
said the thinking machine. 10 minutes later, the telephone rang. It was for the warden.
Is the light working now?
Asked the warden through the phone.
Good. The wire was cut beside cell 13. Yes, I know. What's that? There are too many electricians? 2 went out of the prison, and there are 3 still inside? But only 4 men came from the light company.
The warden turned to the others, confused.
The guard says that he saw 4 electricians come into the prison. 2 went out again, but there are still 3 men inside,
he said.
Don't you remember? I was the extra man,
said the thinking machine.
Oh,
said the warden.
I see.
He turned back to the phone.
You can let the 5th man go. He's all right.